Alright, hey everybody, I'm here. We just introduced my latest custom painted Skylander. That is Heartbreaker Roller Brawl. Cranked her out before and after E3. Finally got her wrapped up the other night. Like I said, just literally did her video. I've moved Chase McCain. He was hidden in the other video. He switched locations. Not too hard to find if you spot him. Be sure to post up. Now, most recent unboxing I did, I had Heartbreaker Roller Brawl hidden kind of as a teaser for people. See if you could maybe spot her. And what I did when I was picking up Jade Fire Kraken, I was kind of taken back to see some characters we don't see too often. Series 2 Flameslinger. Series 2 Spyro. We had a whole peg of Hot Dog, as you see right here from Giants. Not the Series 2 pose, but like the original Skylanders Giants first run through of Hot Dog. And another one that is actually pretty hard to come by, at least nowadays. Back before Christmas it wasn't too hard, but Slam Bam, Series 2 Slam Bam. That is, in my mind, one of the best poses in the entire game to date. Not just in Giants, not just in the water element, but to date. This pose is super awesome. He's got the armor, he's got the 4 fists, it's an aggressive, unique pose. Just really, really nicely done. Now, in addition to having him, which is a pretty rare figure, it was priced at $7.96, which is another cool deal. Now, for those of you that do not know, my nephew, the Walkthrough King, again, we're trying to get him up to 100 subscribers if you want to check out his channel. He is who did this custom freeze blade here. He's got a video up again on his channel. Be sure to check that out. But if you have not subscribed to him, definitely do that. We'll be doing some cool stuff all summer long. Slam Bam is his favorite Skylander ever. Freeze Blade right up there with him, but Slam Bam, going old school back to SSA, that was his favorite guy. That's why we do so much Slam Bam and Terrapin, Slam Bam versus Terrapin, etc. So when I had the opportunity to pick that guy up, I'd had something in mind. I just didn't think I'd ever be able to land one reasonably priced. Went ahead, picked him up. I showed him off in the Jade Fire Kraken figure, kind of teased you, said I was going to get something cranked out special, and that is what I did. Slam Bam, if you recall his soul gem, he kind of gets like the Yeti cooling factor with the face mask, ties in somewhat with like his ice sled, the Wow Pow on that figure, and then of course in water he can kind of like surf, and that to me I'd always thought of like Quicksilver Slam Bam. So I kind of, that's like a brand, but it's also, metaphorically going way back. Quicksilver, it's Mercury, and then of course like Steve Miller, I got props for the Steppenwolf reference and Jade Fire Kraken, so we're going to go back. This might be unknown to a lot of you. You've probably heard of the Steve Miller Band. You obviously think of the Joker, Fly Like, and things like that, but early Steve Miller had a song, Quicksilver Girl. And basically that's, like using it in that sense. It's kind of like someone that, can change at the drop of a hat, their mood, their attitude, their demeanor, things of that nature. So I thought that was kind of cool for Slam Bam. He's this really cool guy, just wants to make ice sculptures and eat snow cones. And then at the drop of a hat, he can go into like a bad guy bashing machine. So with that said, we're gonna have to do this one slightly differently. You'll see why when I stick him in the frame here, but let me introduce Quicksilver Slam Bam. Now, don't know, it could be mixed reactions right now. When I turn him around, you're like, whoa, what did you do to his face? Well, here's the deal. I do a lot of stuff like automotive wise, I can paint, airbrush, things of that nature. So all these guys have been done like by hand with a brush, and that's very tedious, very time consuming. I've got a background with spraying stuff, and it worked out pretty well in this case. I had some silver paint, and now I had the figure. So obviously the reason you don't see his face, you can tell right there, that's not his fist, that's masking tape. If you're going to go the route I did with this guy, make sure you use painter's tape. If you use duct tape or scotch tape, it's going to be a mess. The blue masking tape, very adhesive. You can kind of shape it however you want to. And then of course the big thing is when you pull it off, it's not going to leave residue. Most masking tapes won't, just like the standard tan, but there's some that are like way cheaper and inferior quality. And then when you go to unwrap, you'll actually have like all this adhesive junk, and then you'll have to get it off, and you risk getting the paint off. So my advice, just buy the blue painter's tape. You know, if you think, oh, they just use blue and it's tan, it's actually a better tape, especially for masking. So that's why you see that. But my deal was I did not want him to be completely silver. If I turn out to not like what I did, the good news is I can make him completely silver in about 20 seconds. I'll just go back out, get the air compressor going, and use the airbrush and cover everything up. So that said, it's one of those deals, you know, you always cut too long. If you cut too short, you ruin it. It's kind of the same with paint. If you're unsure, mask it off, and then if you want to go ahead and paint that, it's easier to, you know, have it masked and paint more than it is to actually remove the paint. So what I love, in addition, I mean, just everything about this pose is awesome, but what I really like, it's the translucent look. I mean, the see-through blue. We had a couple of characters kind of implement it, most recently Phantom Cinder, but it's just a really, really neat look. Now, you're probably thinking, well, what are you talking about, dude? You like totally sprayed that. Well, my thoughts were the way his upgrades are, why not go ahead and, you know, like have the fists remain blue, kind of like they've been out in the elements, they're frostbit. He's going to unleash, you know, the ice wall or something like that. It's just one of those deals. Now, the same thing, you know, actually around here, you don't see anything but the tape. That's because I thought it would kind of be cool. Just like I wanted the hands to look like they'd been exposed to the elements, I wanted the actual facial area to remain the white. Not to indicate fur necessarily, as much as I wanted it to be something that would give the illusion of, hey, this thing has been out in the snow, it's got, you know, like the frostbite. You know, if you ever see someone that's like been out playing in the snow, or, you know, unfortunately someone has like, you know, been abandoned in a car and like trekked over to your place or something, they're going to have like their beard, their face, any exposed skin, it's going to have like that white look to it. It's just going to have like snowflakes embedded, look really cold. So that's what I wanted to do. Also, I really like the base. I didn't want that to be silver when it looks that good. If this was any other element, fire, life, magic, I probably would have just sprayed it. But I really, again, like that translucent blue. I thought also, silver and blue, just like you see here, to me, that's a great color scheme. Very complementary of one another. And I thought if I did wind up painting him all silver, or even if this looks awesome, my thoughts were that blue base is going to look killer, offset all the silver. So with that said, we kind of have to unveil this guy, and that's what I'm going to bring you along the ride for. Already I think that looks pretty sweet just as I get that off. And again, I'm pulling this masking tape off. It's the blue painter's tape. No residue. I know you can't really tell, but I mean, just take my word for it. I think that looks pretty awesome. I am pretty happy with this decision so far. A lot of it will come down to his face. And he's not too terribly hard to mask off. Obviously, mini Skylanders would be easier. You know, if you don't mind brushing, you wouldn't have to do this. But I mean, like I said, to me, I've kind of got like an automotive background, so it's not a big deal to me. I'm used to it. I've done some pretty intricate, detailed stuff, so this wasn't too terribly bad. But I really kind of like what we've got shaping up here. I think my nephew is going to really like it. That's really the #1 thing. But just check that out. The contrast between the silver and the blue, really, really neat looking in my opinion. Let's see here. Let's see if we can't get this going. It's kind of hard when it's all painted uniformly to actually find the end. That came off very easily. Now we just need to get it started here. This does help if you have fingernails, by the way. I do, but they're not very long, so bear with me. Alright, there's the upward fist. Again, to me, that contrast, super cool looking. I think it's basically the look I wanted. I mentioned I was kind of unsure that Heartbreaker Roller Brawl came out like I wanted her to. This came out like I wanted it to, and that is very cool. So there that is, man. That's his 4 fists. I think it looks really good thus far. Now, I know I want the base to be that way regardless, so I guess we'll go ahead and do the face. I know that's what most of you have probably been wanting to see. Again, it's just a matter of me finding a starting point with a short fingernail. Man. That's when it's really nice to have, like, you know, a mom with fingernails, or a sister, or a girlfriend or something. Otherwise, you just have to take your time and hope for the best. So we'll get there eventually, just not as quickly as we could have. So right now, you can kind of see the white. Again, my goal with that wasn't to look out of place. It was to literally give that look. You know, it's always people's faces that are exposed when they're out, and they kind of, like I mentioned, they get that like snowflake, snow-covered icicles, you know, frostbitten look. I know I love the translucent blue and the contrast. The question now is going to be, do we feel the same way about the face? And I believe I do. That actually looks really good. Some people may disagree with me. I don't know what is up with that. It seems like a factory defect. That's actually just like a chip of some sort. But anyway, he looks pretty dadgum cool, I have to say. Again, to me, it's very difficult to improve upon a figure that good. Again, this is, I haven't officially ranked things yet, but I can't see this being outside of my top 10. It's probably in the top 3, to be honest with you. To date, SSA Giants and Swap Force. So that's how highly I think of this figure. That said, this looks really good. The thing is, now you can see I've got all the silver here. That kind of, if you want to replicate this and you think, hey, I want my water to be silver, this is kind of an idea of what you would see. That said, I did mask it off. We're going to go ahead and see if we can't maybe pull this back, and that'll kind of liven up the figure a little bit, provide even more contrast, particularly at the base. I think it's going to come out looking pretty cool. And again, my main thing here is just, I did this with my nephew in mind, and I think he's going to think it's really, really neat. So as long as he likes it, you know, I'm pretty good with it. So if he hates it, I think I like this enough. I'm going to leave it just like this. If he wants to do one that's like all silver or green or something crazy, I'll run back down to Walmart. Hope they still have this guy, and I will let him do whatever he wants to on. So, and the cool thing is, with these figures, you're paying $7.96. So I mean, you're saving a little bit of money over like shelling out $15 for, you know, Freeze Blade to repaint or something. So you can kind of do like a 2-for-1 there. The base was really hard to mask off, I'm not gonna lie. The fists weren't too bad at all, but I mean the base, you have a lot of area, and it was quite difficult to get to. So again, this masking tape would come off way easier if I had fingernails of any length, but sadly I am a guy, so I have short fingernails. I've been smashing my hands and everything, that's why they're cut up, so that doesn't help much either. I think we're almost done. Let me get him out of the frame so I can see a little better for you. While he is out of the frame, you're more than welcome to take a look for Chase McCain. And speaking of that, at some point in this video, either the beginning, the end, somewhere in the middle, I don't know, I may throw up some pictures of him in progress in the shop when I was spraying him. But I just have one tiny little piece left, and I just can't get a finger in there. Okay, I think I got it all. Let me double check before the big final unveiling to you. Yeah, I think that's everything. So, since you have not seen the base, we're going to make this as dramatic and timed out as possible. Here's Quicksilver Slam Bam. Again, to me, the contrast is really, really good between just the fists and the rest, the fur, the spikes, the body, everything. Again, I actually like the face. It matches my exposed skin, the cool, chilled look, and then leaving that white. In certain angles, it would probably wash out with the silver, but to me, that gives the illusion that, hey, you know, he's been out in the elements, he's got the snow, and now I'm going to bring him up, and you can see the base there. To me, that provides that final little bit of contrast there, and it makes for a very well-rounded figure in my opinion. So that is it. This is a good look right here. You can see the translucent blue, the silver of the armor, the silver of the fur with the white fur around the face that I left intentionally, and then kind of a topical view, kind of a weird angle you wouldn't usually get, but it showcases everything really well. Smooth silver on the biceps, the body, silver on the fur, you know, comes in there, obviously contrasts very nicely with the water base. He just looks really good in my opinion. You could easily do the face, at least the fur, in the silver color. You could just mask off, you know, like above the eyeballs, essentially like that. That would look right at home too. I just thought this would kind of give a little bit more contrast, kind of give that like genuine weathered look I was trying to achieve. So that said, this is Quicksilver Slam Bam. I'm pretty happy with him. Again, he is the first one that I've actually masked off and sprayed. There's some really awesome colors I can get in terms of like stuff I would airbrush with. Sadly, that stuff is like super expensive. Where I can get, you know, like some brush on paint, you know, for all these guys, and it's like, you know, $1 a tube, you know, and the tube seems to go for like probably 10 repaints. Even small quantities of like, you know, automotive grade paint is quite expensive, so you kind of have to, you know, and that's a lot of that stuff, you know, you've got to mix it, you've got to do, you know, reduce it down, harden it. It gets a little really complex. This one wasn't too bad. I mean, it's just pretty much a straight up generic silver, but you might be able to find a spray paint that would work. But anyway, I think he came out pretty dadgum cool, and again, when I get to show him to my nephew, I will be very excited. But now I've got the two Slam Bams in his most epic pose, at least in my opinion. This one in my left hand that we're shaking, that is the standard Skylanders Giant Series 2 Slam Bam. And right here we have my custom Series 2 Slam Bam, which again I am going to dub Quicksilver Slam Bam, very fittingly. So with that said, let me know what you think of Quicksilver Slam Bam. Did I nail it? Is he an abomination? That's a good word there. Instead of saying he's bad, bonus points if you say he's an abomination. Kind of a play on Abominable Snowman there. Nonetheless, I think he turned out really cool. Again, it is very, very difficult to improve on how good this guy looks. Personally, I still prefer this one, even over my own custom that I really like, but that just speaks volumes to how well done this guy was. So, Quicksilver Slam Bam, though, very, very cool in my opinion, and like I said, as long as my nephew likes him, I'll be happy. But that said, let me know what you think of Quicksilver Slam Bam, and like I said, I think he turned out pretty well. So take that link at the top of the video description box. You can see not only Quicksilver Slam Bam, but all my custom painted Skylanders. Forget not, Chase McCain is hidden somewhere, not too terribly hard to find. If you spotted him, feel free to post up. But for myself, Series 2 Slam Bam, and of course, my latest custom Quicksilver Slam Bam. We will catch you next time. Make sure you're subscribed. You can follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook, circle me on Google+, whichever you prefer. Once again, thanks for watching, and we will catch you back here next time.